That feeling when someone wrongs you and your mind instantly starts crafting an epic revenge saga in vivid detail, it's all too familiar. Maybe they humiliate you in front of others, sabotage your work, talk behind your back, or quietly hope for your downfall. And deep within, there's this calm yet menacing voice whispering, "Noted, I'll remember this." But then reality comes crashing in. You can't just dive headfirst into full-fledged villain mode. Burning everything around you would only end up scorching yourself. Life demands balance. You've got bills to pay, a reputation to maintain, loved ones who rely on you, responsibilities that don't care about your grudge. So you swallow the anger and you move forward. Or at least you try. That anger, however, doesn't just vanish. It lingers. This is where many people find themselves stuck, believing they have only two choices: either explode and escalate the situation, or be the bigger person, swallowing their pride while their adversary continues unchecked. Neither option feels satisfying or truly justified, but as Machiavelli might observe with a sly smile, there is a third path, one that's quieter, slower, and far more impactful over time. It's not about direct confrontation. Instead, you dismantle your opposition by mastering the art of patience so completely that their own recklessness and self-centered behavior become their undoing. Being strategic means becoming the only player in the game who doesn't rush. Think about it. Those who cause the most harm tend to be impulsive. They can't resist taking jabs, making petty remarks, or proving they're right at any cost. And with each action, they leave behind traces, marks on their reputations, clues that alter how others begin to perceive them. The Machiavellian principle of patience is deceptively simple. Never interrupt an enemy while they are methodically unraveling themselves. Reacting too quickly only jolts them awake. Practicing patience allows them to stumble deeper into their own chaos. But patience is not passive. It's active and deliberate. It's a finely tuned awareness. You're not avoiding confrontation. You're intentionally slowing your response while sharpening your focus. Let's break this down into actionable steps, ones that won't wreck your life or turn you into some two-dimensional villain plotting in isolation. Picture someone in your life, a colleague, friend, or even family member, who has taken up the role of your secret adversary. They may not openly attack you, but their actions speak louder. Belittling comments aimed at making you seem less competent, subtle exclusions from gatherings, quiet whispers designed to undermine your credibility. Your first instinct might be to confront them publicly, retaliate with gossip of your own, or stage an explosive reckoning. And occasionally, you might have to stand up for yourself directly. Absolutely fair. But Machiavellian patience suggests starting with a different question. What do they want from you right now? If they're baiting you to lose control, don't bite. If they crave a dramatic reaction, deny it to them. If they aim to portray you as unstable or overly emotional, let them carry that energy all by themselves while you stay composed. This approach isn't weakness, it's strategy. By refusing to give them the scene they're seeking, you maintain control. So, how do you implement this in practice? Step 1. Observation without performance. Most people keep tabs on their adversaries like spectators in a drama, but all while still playing a role in it themselves, reacting impulsively to every twist and turn. You're going to do the opposite. Stop performing. Start observing. Treat the situation like an anthropological study. Instead of thinking, "Why are they so annoying?" shift your focus to when do they strike? Who do they target? What triggers them? Observe their preferred tactics: sarcasm, deception, guilt trips, playing the victim, and take note. This shift may feel calculated or even detached at first, but that's intentional. Emotional clouding leads to missteps. Clarity requires neutrality. You're not stalking them. You're just paying close attention whenever they interact with you or others. Who supports them? Who rolls their eyes at them? Who grows uncomfortable but stays quiet? Piece by piece, you map out the battlefield. Here's the truth. Patience without insight is just idle waiting. Strategic patience requires information. In time, patterns emerge, and you'll realize your enemy isn't some untouchable mastermind. They're predictable. Their behavior repeats because it's worked for them before. And predictability is a tactical weakness. Once their moves become apparent, they're no longer playing ahead of the curve. Step 2. Emotional delay. Not suppression, but delay. When they say or do something that lights a fire inside you, resist the urge to respond immediately. In most conflicts, it's not the act itself that ruins people. It's how they react in the moment. You've seen this play out. Someone hears a disrespectful comment, and instead of responding with composure, they explode, cry, insult, or threaten. What ends up being remembered? Not the initial disrespect, but their reaction. That's not the position you want to be in. So when someone takes a verbal jab at you, follow 3 simple steps. First, breathe. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths. This gives your brain a few seconds to regain control. Second, look at them. Not aggressively, but enough to acknowledge their words. Third, respond only if necessary, using fewer words than you'd instinctively want to. Sometimes the most strategic answer is as simple as saying "noted," suggesting "we can discuss this later," or even staying silent with a slight smile. This isn't about acting cool to feed your ego. It's about staying in control and choosing the right time to respond when emotions aren't clouding your judgment. This measured approach feeds into what you might call a slightly evil but clean side of patience. The longer you allow an adversary to believe they're unchecked, the bolder they become. They push further, take greater risks, and grow increasingly careless. They mistake your silence for weakness, but it's not weakness. It's you giving them enough rope for when it's time to tighten your grip. And when you do, it's effective and deliberate. Let's be clear. Patience shouldn't turn you into a grudge holder. It's more than just outlasting them. It's about building your position while they ruin theirs. Instead of reacting to every petty move they make, direct your energy into self-improvement. Focus on strengthening your skills, quietly accumulating wins that speak for themselves without seeking anyone's validation. Build meaningful relationships with people who are balanced and respected. Earn a reputation as someone dependable and free from unnecessary drama. You don't need to proclaim that you're taking the high road. Just live it. Why does this matter? Because when your adversary eventually crosses a line and others start noticing their behavior, they'll likely try to drag you down with them. They might claim victimhood or rationalize their actions by pointing fingers at you. They did this to me too. They're part of the problem. If your past actions are messy or reactive, people might believe them. But if you've been steady, calm, and consistent all along, those accusations won't stick. Your reputation will speak louder than their claims. This kind of tactical patience isn't about passivity. It's about crafting credibility while letting your adversary slowly unravel theirs. Here's an example that might apply to your life. Imagine there's a coworker, let's call them X, who views you as competition, even though you haven't positioned yourself that way. X begins subtly sabotaging you, leaving you out of emails, talking over you in meetings, implying to your manager that you're inexperienced or not quite ready for certain tasks. You have choices here. You could run to your manager with every instance and risk looking high maintenance or overly sensitive, or you could ignore it entirely and endure quiet sabotage indefinitely. Neither option is ideal. Instead, the law of patience suggests a different strategy. First, keep a discrete but organized record of incidents. Save emails, note dates, and situations, not to dwell on them, but to have facts ready if needed. Second, communicate both clearly and professionally with others. Send follow-up emails summarizing decisions or progress and copy relevant people on correspondence. This ensures X has minimal chances of misrepresenting you. Third, focus on excelling in your work in ways that are visible to others, not through boasting, but by volunteering for projects where your strengths naturally shine. Over time, X will likely continue their petty games. However, because you're not reacting impulsively, they may get overconfident, taking bigger risks that expose their intentions more clearly. They might take credit for something you did or make critical errors and attempt to place the blame on you. And that's where patience shows its worth. Instead of approaching your manager with vague grievances, you can calmly outline specific examples with dates, emails, and evidence. You're not complaining. You're presenting facts in a professional manner. By this point, your manager will already associate you with reliability and integrity because of your consistent behavior. In the end, this isn't just about surviving conflict. It's about thriving through it by letting steady patience guide your actions while others falter. When dealing with a defensive, dramatic, or dishonest person, particularly an ex or adversary, the focus should shift from immediate reactions to a deliberate strategy of letting the truth reveal itself naturally. You don't need to scheme or smear. The Machiavellian approach to overcoming conflict emphasizes creating circumstances where the other party exposes their flaws, while you remain composed and let reality unfold. This strategy isn't limited to the workplace. Its principles apply to personal relationships, toxic exes, fake friends, or even online disputes. When someone tries to frame you as the villain, the instinct is often to retaliate, defend yourself loudly, or exhaustively prove your innocence through receipts and explanations. However, patience argues for a smarter approach. Assess whether defending yourself at this moment truly matters, or if waiting for a better opportunity could deliver more impactful results. Take friend groups as an example. If someone frequently speaks negatively about you in your absence, over time, their behavior becomes apparent to others and exhausting to maintain. Observers may begin to question their constant fixation and negativity, especially when your actions show contrasting maturity. You avoid trash talk, portray fairness, and generally keep their name out of unnecessary conversation. Humans are naturally attuned to contrasts, and this disparity between behavior can influence perceptions. The law of patience requires a few critical qualities from you. First and foremost, the ability to endure being misunderstood temporarily. This is often the most challenging part, since resisting the urge to correct every false narrative demands restraint. While there are moments when setting the record straight is necessary, rushing to defend yourself every time can weaken your position and make you seem reactive. The wiser move is selective correction. Address significant issues while letting inconsequential misconceptions fade with time. Evidence often dismantles small misperceptions on its own. Second, patience demands acceptance of slow victories. If immediate validation or revenge feels appealing, mastering this approach may be difficult because it prioritizes long-term gains over short-term satisfaction. It requires repeatedly swallowing your pride for the sake of future positioning rather than impulsive retaliation, trading fleeting triumphs for sustained success. Third, you must build your life on aspirations beyond defeating your adversary. True power isn't derived from obsessively seeking to prove them wrong, but instead from redirecting energy toward improving your life in meaningful ways. If their influence continues to dictate your motivations over the years, they haven't been conquered. Instead, they linger in control from a distance. Use them as short-term fuel if necessary, but ultimately aim to create a purpose rooted in genuine self-growth. One alternative, perhaps the most calculated move, is opting out of being their enemy altogether, not by reconciling, but by relegating their existence to irrelevance. Some people thrive on conflict and the attention it brings. Without your engagement, their significance diminishes. Choosing emotional detachment, blocking their baiting tactics, or moving beyond their drama can be more destabilizing than any counterattack. Over time, resentment may start to look misplaced when you're clearly focused on building something bigger and better, while they're stuck shadowboxing someone who's no longer playing along. This approach isn't about passively waiting for karma to take its course, but actively crafting a fulfilling life so that their intrusion becomes trivial, shrinking them into a footnote in your story. If someone has hurt or disrespected you deeply, a toxic ex, a rival who tarnished your confidence, it's natural to crave validation or closure, an apology or public recognition that you were right. However, this idealized moment may never arrive in the way you hope. Instead, the Machiavellian law of patience encourages a redefined concept of victory. Not a dramatic spectacle of revenge, but the quiet reality of transformation. As years go by, your focus shifts toward growth and evolving beyond the cycles that trapped them and that once tried to trap you. Forgiveness and forgetting aren't prerequisites unless you're ready for them. However, what's crucial is deciding whether their actions deserve not just to steal your past, but your future attention too. One of the most powerful expressions of patience lies in this idea. Let time reveal what you don't need to prove. This doesn't mean you never stand up for yourself. It means that after you've said and done what's fair and reasonable, you don't exhaust yourself chasing every opinion. You allow time to shoulder some of the burden, letting it work quietly in your favor. Here's how to simplify and apply this principle in life. When someone positions themselves as your opponent, begin by observing rather than reacting. Pay attention to patterns, who they align with, how they act, and what their motives are. Let your mind act like a camera, capturing information without projecting unnecessary noise. Next, delay emotional reactions, not indefinitely, but long enough to consider responses that serve your long-term goals instead of fueling short-term anger. While they work to tear things down, focus on building yourself up. Improve your skills, expand your network, and strengthen your credibility steadily without fanfare. Don't let conflict consume your identity or define your journey. Then, choose your moment wisely. When patterns become evident and there's something meaningful to gain by responding, act with precision, calmly and without unnecessary drama. Lastly, embrace irrelevance as a strategic tool. Sometimes the most effective way to disarm an enemy is by making their opinions and actions irrelevant to your life. You don't have to waste your energy rewriting the chapters of your story just because someone hurt you early on. By practicing this approach, you'll notice an internal shift. The panic or urgency you once felt when disrespected will subside. That doesn't mean you won't feel human emotions. It means a quieter, more strategic voice within will guide you. It will assure you that while someone may provoke you, you know exactly what steps to take or not take. This calmness is powerful and rare because most people operate impulsively, playing short-term games. They rush to react, retaliate, and prove themselves immediately, often at great cost down the road. But when you learn to slow the game down, you transform the dynamic entirely. You're not weak. You're simply conserving your strength for what truly matters. As time passes, you'll also find that you have fewer real enemies, not because others aren't problematic, but because you've stopped engaging in unnecessary battles dictated by ego. By picking your conflicts carefully, holding back when needed, and acting with intention only when necessary, you'll realize that patience is not about revenge, but about protecting your future and maintaining peace. It's the difference between immature retaliation, seeking to make others feel the pain they inflicted, and strategic growth, ensuring no one can ever hold that kind of power over you again. If this resonates with you, there's probably someone on your mind right now, someone who underestimated you, hurt you, or dismissed your ability to bounce back. But the best move isn't telling them what's next. It's reclaiming your time and energy. Stop reacting instantly or giving them attention they don't deserve. Start quietly working on yourself, improving your position, and let time reveal the truth. That's the essence of patience as a strategy. It's not about rushing to destroy your enemies. It's about watching, waiting, growing. By the time they understand what has happened, they'll find themselves stuck where they were while you've moved forward to an entirely different place.